Alright guys, welcome back, and today we're going to be doing 10 epic champions you should definitely book video. So these champions are champions that you should not be afraid to use your skill books on. So skill books are very hard to get, so that's why we're going to be going over this. So we're going to start off in the Skinwalkers faction, and we're going to talk about Steel Skull. So I mentioned this guy in my last video in reference to champions that need books to be great. So what makes him good is his basic attack. So his basic attack already has poison built in, but only a 10% chance. So if you leave it unbooked, he's kind of useless. 10% chance is way too slim. He definitely needs to be fully booked and not partially. So every ability that he has needs to be fully booked. So when I upgraded, his chance increased to 35%, and his attack is a double hit. So you have 2 chances to land the 5% poison. So it works great with a counterattack team. And also having his A2 and A3 full booked will reduce the cooldown of his respective skills, and they're also really great in clan boss. And he is one of the top tier epic champions for clan boss, and this guy definitely needs to be booked. So if you have him, don't be afraid to book him. So now we're going to talk about Aothar. So many people do not work on Aothar because unlike Julian, he actually requires skill books to be good. So let's keep it 100 guys. Aothar, he arguably only needs his A2 maxed out, but you know how the upgrade system works in Racial Legends. It is completely random, so you may end up wasting 15 epic skill books just trying to level up his A2 ability. So he is one of the best epic poisoners in Raid, and as a bonus, he is actually capable of stealing buffs on his basic attack. So if you have Aothar, consider everything I said before deciding if you want to work on it. So at this point in the game, I personally regard MISCREATED Monster as the best epic champion in the game. He can hard carry your team through any content in the game other than clan boss, which he is not bad at, but not top tier. So he only needs 10 epic skill books if you want to max him out, which is not too bad, but he is much better when fully booked. Let's look at his skills. So he's got a double attack. Each has 15% chance of placing a stun debuff for 1 turn. And then he has a 50% chance of placing a decreased defense for 1 turn if the stun debuff is placed. So if you max this out, it's going to be a 25% chance of placing that stun and a 60% chance of placing the decreased defense if he stuns them. His AoE attack, you can decrease the cooldown of it. Is very good because he has chances of placing stun debuff for 1 turn, while also placing a shield buff on all allies for 3 turns equal to 25% of the damage inflicted. So not only are you increasing the damage that you do with the books, you're also decreasing the cooldown to 3 turns. It's alive. This is important. You need that cooldown reduction on this ability. He plays the ally protection on all allies except himself for 3 turns, and he heals himself by 50% of their max HP. So he heals them by 15% of their max HP, and he places a 15% continuous heal buff on himself for 3 turns. And what's cool about his passive ability, does not require any books, and these guys got a great aura skill in arena. So if you have MISCREATED Monster, don't be afraid to use your books on him. As I said, this guy is one of the best, probably the best epic champion in the game. So while we are in Night Revenant, let's talk about Golden Reaper. She is a unique champion capable of speed boosting and reducing cooldowns on her basic attack. So she requires 12 skill books to fully book, but if you somehow get lucky, you can get away with only maxing her A1 and A3. But the A2 is not bad. So if you max out her A1 ability, she has a 50% chance of decreasing the cooldown of one of her random ally skills by 1 turn, which is crazy. 30% is pretty low, but 50% is pretty good. This ability right here, if you max it out, increases your chances of landing that debuff, which is decreased attack on all enemies, which is pretty good. And she can also decrease the turn meter of each target by 20%. Ideally, you would want her A1 and her A3 maxed out, but this is actually not bad to have. And her last ability, her A3, places a 30% increased speed buff on allies for 2 turns and boosts their turn meter by 20%, so you can have that on a 3-turn cooldown. So she's definitely worth booking. So Madame SERRIS, she's possibly the best epic void in the game, especially in arena. To fully book her, you need 10 epic skill books, but ideally you only want her A2 and A3 maxed out. So if you are lucky, you can save 4 epic skill books for any of the other champions mentioned in this video. So if you look at her basic attack, you do not want this to get booked. So if you can get away with it, if you're lucky enough to max out this ability right here and her Midnight Ritual, then you are solid. Her passive ability does not need any books, and she's a great champion. I'm pretty sure you guys are well aware of this. So if you have Madame SERRIS, don't be afraid to use books on her. So now that we are on the Orcs faction, we're going to talk about SEER. So SEER is very good. I think she is underrated. With a proper setup, she can actually wipe almost anything. And what's cool about her is she is not expensive in terms of books. So she only requires 7 epic skill books to max her out, and she is definitely worth it. Let's take a look at her skills real quick. So her basic attack, she has a 15% chance of granting an extra turn. So if you max this out, it does more damage, and it has a 20% chance of doing so. You can reduce the cooldown of this ability right here that places increased crit rate buff on all allies for 2 turns, and places a 25% weaken debuff on all enemies for 2 turns. So that can be a 3-turn cooldown. And Karma Burn. This is the big damage dealer right here. It's damage based on enemy max HP. She removes all buffs from all allies and enemies, and then she attacks all enemies. And yeah, she can basically wipe almost anything in the game. And you can make that a 4-turn cooldown. So not too expensive. So if you have SEER, she's a solid choice for you to use your epic books. So while we are here, we're going to talk about Zargala. So Zargala is a powerhouse. She's a great champion and can be used anywhere in the game, not including clan boss. So all of her abilities are worth booking. Let's take a look at it. So this ability right here, she does more damage when it's booked. So she needs all the damage she can get, and she can also plays weaken on this. So it's actually worth booking her because she needs all, as I said, she needs all the damage she can get. You can decrease the cooldown by 2 with this ability, Devastate, which can be a 2-turn cooldown, which is pretty crazy because this move does a lot of damage, and it instantly activates her Crack Armor ability, which is her A3. A3 attacks all enemies 3 times, pretty crazy, after the first hit, and she has a 50% chance of placing the decreased defense. So not only does she have weaken, she also has decreased defense built into her kit. And if you max that out, increases the chance of placing that decreased defense, and the cooldown goes down by 1, so that's a 4-turn cooldown. So definitely, if you have Zargala, book Zargala. She's very, very good. So let's talk about JAREG. JAREG is a clan boss beast. He has decreased attack on his basic attack, passive with a continuous heal, and increased defense with allied protection on the same skill. So I've actually seen people argue that only his A2 needs to be fully booked, which I disagree with. So let me explain why. Let's look at his skills. So he actually does, his basic attack does decrease attack, but it's only 35% chance. So if you max this out, it's going to be a 60% chance of placing that decreased attack. So that is very important in clan boss. Actually, that can actually be a difference between a wipe and surviving in clan boss, because you can actually decrease the damage of the clan boss by 50%. So it's important to have this ability maxed out. And of course, his A2 ability, Pack Leader, cooldown is -1, so it's going to be a 4-turn cooldown. Passive does not need anything. So he only needs 7 books to completely max out, and I would recommend doing so. If you guys disagree, let me know down in the comment section, but I believe that he needs more of a chance as he can get with his A1 attack. So TYREL is one of the most sought after champions in Raid Shadow Legends, because he is an epic champion that can actually do it all. So TYREL can be used anywhere in the game, literally. He's a defense-based champion. His basic attack actually has decreased attack on it, which is one of the best basic attacks in the game if they have decreased attack on them. And you actually want to book this out. It increases chance of landing the decreased attack by 10%. So it's going to be 50% chance, and he does more damage at plus 15%. Is pretty good. His A2 ability is an AoE that has a 75% chance of placing decreased defense for 2 turns. If the target is under decreased attack, he actually puts them to sleep. So you actually want to max this out, and makes this 100% chance of placing that decreased defense as long as you pass the accuracy check. Preemptive Strike. This ability actually does a lot of damage. Decrease the target's turn rate by 50%. If the attack fully depletes the turn rate, it will place a stun debuff for 2 turns. And you can actually reduce the cooldown -1, and it does way more damage when you book it. So yeah, he does need 12 skill books, but definitely worth it. And while we're on the high elves, we're going to talk about the last guy on this list is Royal Guard. So this is actually a controversial pick. I know a lot of people do not agree with this choice, but I definitely believe if somebody has a Royal Guard, he should be fully booked. If you are using multiple Royal Guards and cannot afford the skill books, then I think it's okay to keep one of them unbooked. It's arguable that he does not need booked because it's a damage based on enemy max HP, so the plus 5% per level is not really going to help too much. But I think that he should be booked for his A1 ability, which has a 50% chance of placing a decreased defense debuff for 2 turns. So you can increase that chance to 65% chance, which you do need, especially for dungeons. Hamstring attacks 4 times at random. Each has a 60% chance of placing a decreased speed debuff for 2 turns. And he also has a 60% chance of decreasing the target's turn rate by 25%. So I believe it's important to upgrade this ability. You can make it a 4-turn cooldown, and you can increase your chance of landing. Decreased speed is good to have, but the most important one is the turn meter manipulation right here. Decreased turn rate by 25%. So that can be a 75% chance. So if you do have Royal Guard and you can get away with it, his A1, A2, Personally, I actually like the extra damage from his takedown ability. So I do have one fully maxed out and one of them not maxed out. So that's going to be it for this video. If you guys found this video helpful or entertaining in any way, make sure you guys drop a like. If you guys want to see a legendary version of this, let me know down in the comment section. And as always, I want to thank you guys for watching. I'll see you guys in the next video.